Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with some more Warhammer 3 gameplay. So here we have Tzeentch, controlled by the CA representative, versus the Ogre Kingdoms in a minor settlement battle, with Tzeentch being the attacker. Again, as always, I do have to stress out that this stuff that you're seeing on screen right now is development in progress, so anything like stats and so on can change. So again, this is something that we've seen before, but from a defender's point of view in this channel, where the ogres were able to defend, but we're going to see how it works as an aggressive point. Tzeentch, being the aggressor, is an interesting choice by the Creative Assembly developer, as, well, Tzeentch is mostly range and focused around doing damage from afar, where here there's loads of little twists and turns. One thing that we have noticed here is that the Doom Knights themselves can be chosen to be fully flying or just gliding on the ground, meaning that you can use them as basic, well, cavalry, just flying cavalry without the flying, which, yeah, I know, it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it does. And we've got a decent army here, a lot of range as expected this is Tzeentch, not a lot of melee, just 1 unit of Chaos Spawn, 2 units of Forsaken, and a few units of Blue Horrors, with obviously 2 units of Doom Knights, but the majority of other stuff is mostly to be able to pepper the enemy from afar. It looks like the member from Creative Assembly is trying to surround from all different sides, which does make sense, as we've seen that the AI does struggle with this, and the AI has moved the forces around a decent amount, just in a very weird deployment, if I've got to be honest about that. There's a lot more in the north than there is in the south, and it does look like the southern forces from Tzeentch are probably the ones that you should be worried about the most. So with the battle starting off, we can see that the Tzeentchian forces are trying to move in. The ogres will obviously have a bit of an advantage here, as this is their home turf, so they'll be able to build up some towers and so on, though looking around, despite the fact that the Creative Assembly staff member is moving like really quickly, so it's kind of tough to look around, I don't see the AI building defenses. Yeah, they might be building up some towers, but I don't think they built anything up prior, which is kind of strange, though you never know, they could just be focusing on other stuff and we just haven't been able to see it. Now, Tzeentch does have the benefit here. Loads of flyers means that you'll be able to move around, and peppering the enemy, they might not even come out, which is a little disappointing. This is still AI, and the AI can take a while to probably kick in proper. Again, development build, so things can be subject to change, but it would be nice if the enemy would sally out, because we're seeing here that they're just not moving, and that can be a massive issue if you're just attacking from afar, which obviously is a benefit for Tzeentch. Maybe this point of the AI isn't done yet, but sallying forth would be extremely beneficial. Again, this would be different in, say for example, a player versus player environment, which it would have been nice to see, but you get a more better feel of the AI by actually seeing the AI. And yeah, Total War AI is not that great, though we're still here to watch and see pretty much just how everything plays out. We're already seeing that the enemy is struggling, you've got loads of Tzeentchian forces moving in, and not a lot is happening on the enemy side. There needs to be a bit more proactivity, especially when you've got so many missiles being thrown at you. Just staying back is not going to help. We can see here that Tzeentch is barely losing any forces. We did see one of the Doom Knight units lose their shield, but barely any HP loss, so the damage is being done heavily by Tzeentch. And of course, this is mainly to showcase the player's point of view, so yeah, it makes sense that the player's going to be a bit stronger and so on, especially when it comes to custom battles, which the standard is just normal battles. But yeah, you can see there's a drastic change of power. The second health bar, which does regenerate, I believe I was told, will keep the Tzeentchian forces up and running. This is not like, say, for example, fighting against Khorne, where Khorne is built to do a lot of damage, and we've seen a land battle between Tzeentch and the ogres before, where, yeah, the ogres just were not able to do that much damage at all. Interestingly enough, it seems to be the same case here, and a lot of the ogre units were moved to the central part of their fortress, which, again, it's not really helping anyone, especially if you need to be out there doing fighting. There's a lot of ogre stuff which is just frantically moving around, and yeah, this is probably not the best display of stuff, as you can see that they're standing. There's even some points where you can just see ogres at the edge of a settlement, just getting peppered, which can be a little bit disappointing, I'm not going to lie. We can see that with Stonehorns and just man-eaters and so on, they're not able to do much. The AI needs to be a bit more proactive. I hope that Creative Assembly is going to at least take a look at this and be able to make them sally forth, because in a defensive point of view versus a ranged army, staying still is not going to help. I'm not trying to be critical for the sake of being critical, I'm just reporting on what I'm seeing, and hopefully this does get changed. The enemy needs to be able to sally out, because right now we're just seeing an absolute spanking from Tzeentch towards the ogres, and sallying forth is supposed to be quite important. You shouldn't be able to just hold out in positions and just wait to get gunned down. I don't know in what order my videos are coming out, but there's going to be a battle which shows that Tzeentch is not that overpowered, because it's playing against other factions and you see a lot more damage being done. It's a bit disappointing here, more on the defensive AI point of view. You can't just stay still and just keep getting shot and shot. Like, that's basic logic, and I'm not too sure why it isn't here when it comes to the actual AI. Again, development, I have to stress that a lot, and we hopefully can see a little bit of a change, because something like that can be extremely disappointing to see for the first time. Other than that, I mean, we can see that the areas do split up the enemies. You're able to do quite a bit here. It really depends on how the AI is going to play out and how you play out. I'm assuming that if you were deploying all your forces in, say, one location or splitting them in two, you'd have the enemies then split up in two or one locations. It very much depends. Then again, still, with a ranged army, you're going to be at the benefit here, which is a little disappointing, as just shooting them down from afar, it's not a very exciting battle. We're about, say, 5-6 minutes into the battle, maybe even a little bit less, and a lot of damage has been done, but a lot of damage has not been done to Tzeentch. Magic replenishment has been quite high, and just a lot of damage has been done constantly. It's impressive, in a sense, because obviously Tzeentch was expected to be very powerful. We've already seen that when we read through the mechanics blog and so on, but not this much. I mean, it's a bit, you know. The battle is extremely one-sided, and what we can see is that the Tzeentchian forces pretty much have control over the whole map. There's not a single place where I can see them losing too much. They have pretty much lost a complete unit. No, they have lost a complete unit of Pink Horrors, but even then it doesn't change much. The Chaos Spawn are almost dead but still standing. The majority of the army is pretty much still full. Again, this is the benefit of the barrier, but even then, it's just a lot. A lot of ammunition is being spent out though at this point, which is going to force the Tzeentchian forces to have to get into melee, depending on how well the rest of the ammo is used. And, well, you've got a lot of Winds of Magic. We can see a lot of Winds of Magic being there in the pool, which is pretty much untouched. I think if the player would have min-maxed it a lot better, this battle would be over by now, considering as to how much damage has already been done in this short space of time, and how much Winds of Magic still remains. If I had to be perfectly honest, and again, I'm not criticizing the developer because he's obviously trying to show as much as possible, this battle could have literally been over by now just by using some spells in addition to everything. I mean, spells are being used now, and we can see that it's doing quite a lot of damage. A lot of Rhinox units, I believe those were Rhinox, they could be Mournfang, they got hit quite heavily, and you still have a lot of magic left. In fact, he's also been building up for his special spells, the army abilities, which require no Winds of Magic, I believe, and they haven't been used yet, which could already start doing some damage and provide some extra force. Tzeentch's one is obviously built up by, well, casting spells, and since that's the main focus of your army, you'd be able to do this without a problem. So there's a bit of an issue here where the AI has obviously had the units spread out so much with a few units in the middle. You can see that there, that by the time that you start sending your forces there, you've taken out, say, 15 units out of the 20 of the full stack. So you've got a lot of forces, and they're down to a quarter, more or less, of their army, and yeah, you're going to be able to hit them out, especially if you're going to be able to pepper them and they're not going to be able to do anything. Again, if it would have been Khorne attacking the settlement, it would be a bit different, as obviously no magic and no missiles, but we're seeing it here where Tzeentch is able to run circles around the ogres, and Tzeentch is quite powerful. We're going to have to see this a lot with the Chaos stuff. We're expecting the Chaos stuff being extremely powerful, and mainly they'll be able to counter themselves. But even still, without using all your winds of magic and not even your special battle ability, the battle is so one-sided. Again, this needs to be stressed out, and I will mention it to the Creative Assembly developers that maybe if it's possible, because we don't know if this is possible or if they're actually working on it, defenders need to be able to sally forth, because at this point, yeah, the ogres are getting surrounded, and that's pretty much it. When the ogres are surrounded in the middle, you know that everything's done for. This is just pretty much the end, especially with the grand majority of the Tzeentchian forces still intact, barely losing any models. I will give it to the ogres that they do have decent leadership, because we're a decent amount of time into the battle and they haven't broken fully. We still don't have army losses and so on, so at least they're able to be quite resilient despite the fact that they're just not able to do that much damage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to allow for the rest of the battle to play with the official audio and so on, so you can listen to unit cards, you can listen to the official audio and all that type of stuff, and we're going to be back with more videos today. There's going to be about 7 in total. I'm not sure what order this is coming out. This might end up being the last one. We'll just have to wait and see.
On tireless foot, onward, Northmen! Silence of Tzeentch. Valk!
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.